Hello, you're watching VNA News and now highlights. Vietnam attracts $1.33 billion in FDI in January. Vietnam's property prices likely to increase this year. SIM now highlights India-Vietnam cultural relations. Vietnam expects to draw a large inflow of foreign direct investment this year as the series of free trade agreements take effect, especially after the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement was officially signed in early February. Statistics released by the Foreign Investment Agency shows that Vietnam licensed 127 projects with a combined registered capital of $1.01 billion in January, up 158% as compared to the same period last year. During the month, 56 projects were permitted to increase their investment capital by $323.4 million, a year-on-year rise of 19.2%. The total amount of newly registered and added capital reached $1.33 billion in January, up 101% of the figure 1 year ago. Meanwhile, the sum of disbursed investment rose by 23.1% to $800 million. According to the Foreign Investment Agency, these figures signal a good prospect for FDI traction in 2016. Vietnam's security sector reaped satisfactory results in 2015 thanks to its strong measures to attract flows of foreign capital and restructure the stock market system.
As many as $13.05 billion were mobilized for the sector in the year, making up 28% of the total investment capital from all sectors, the record figure so far. The value of equitization deals and share issue alone recorded a growth of 6.6%, while bond mobilization met the set goal. Chairman of the State Securities Commission Vũ Bằng attributed the good performance to positive economic growth in the year, effective measures taken to address bad debt, and the promotion of equitization. Policies by the Vietnamese government in opening up the market to attract capital helped increase the trust of foreign investors, thus hurrying them to expand investment in Vietnam. International organizations forecast that Vietnam's economic growth is likely to increase to between 6.5 to 6.7% in 2016, and that assessment will be very helpful in attracting foreign investors. Efficiency of policies regarding equitization, share listing, and restructuring of state-owned enterprises will be improved in 2016, aiming to draw more capital to the stock market. The Commission will intensify more solutions to stabilizing and maintaining sustainability of the stock market, focusing on realizing targets of restructuring the market, bettering the quality of goods, and promoting capital mobilization.
Property prices are expected to increase by 5 to 10% in 2016, especially hot projects that have good infrastructure and ensure construction progress. The Vietnam Real Estate Association forecasts the estate market will continue to develop, with the middle-income house segment will be the majority segment. The villa segment is expected to see positive changes in the market, as most Vietnamese home buyers prefer independent houses rather than apartments. The prices of offices for lease were so be 4 to 9% higher than that of 2015. However, the association said the property market this year could face the challenge of bad debts, as most investors have to borrow loans with interest rates of more than 10% a year, while the market has not been provided support from the 30 trillion stimulus package. The number of transactions in the market in 2015 would double that of 2014. The estate inventory value fell to $49,614 billion, while property credit rose by 20% to touch more than $370,538 billion. Vietnam steel imports rose 27.2% to $9 billion last year, while its imports dipped 14% to $2.46 billion. More details in the following report. According to the Vietnam Steel Association, the country imported 19.83 million tons of finished and semi-finished steel products, 52% of which were from China. Meanwhile, most of Vietnam's steel products were shipped to ASEAN, which accounted for 75% of total exports. The association said this year's steel businesses will face fierce competition at regional markets like Cambodia and Laos, where cheap Chinese products are flooding. Meanwhile, Indonesia and Malaysia will impose high anti-dumping duties on Vietnamese steel products. In the domestic market, the association reported that its members sold around 551,000 tons of construction steel in January, down 6% compared to the previous month, but up 36.6% of the same period last year. However, the prices of steel scraps and steel ingots began rising after a long-time decline, making the selling prices up. An international seminar themed India-Vietnam Cultural Relations, Retrospect and Prospect concluded in New Delhi on February 21st. The two-day event was held by the India Council for Cultural Relations. Anil Wawa, Secretary of the Indian Ministry of External Relations, looked back at the time-honored cultural relations between India and Vietnam. The diplomat also affirmed that Vietnam is a pillar in India's Act East policy, and India prioritizes enhancing cultural engagement with the Southeast Asian country, both bilaterally and in the framework of India's ties with ASEAN and the Mekong-Ganga cooperation. Meanwhile, Vietnamese Ambassador Tsang Festival emphasized the significance of the seminar, as culture is one of the pillars of the strategic partnership between two countries. He said cultural cooperation should pioneer to pave the way for cooperation in other fields, adding that Vietnam and India have many advantages to boost cultural relations, and they shared a lot of similarities of their rich cultures. Tan Viên Sơn Thánh, also Tan Viên Mountain Tsang Festival, opened in Ba Vy district of Hanoi on February 21st, the 14th day of the Lunar New Year. Featuring a string of traditional rituals, folk games and other cultural exchanges, the festival attracted crowds of locals and visitors. The annual festival is held to commemorate Tan Viên Sơn Thánh, one of the four immortals in traditional Vietnamese mythology. Ba Vy district is home to a number of relic sites worshipping Tan Viên Sơn Thánh, including 3 temples of Thượng, Trung, and Hạ, the sacred destinations that attract tens of thousands of tourists every year. On the same day, the district also launched Tourism Season 2016. Together with various historical cultural relic sites and special festivals, Ba Vy is home to gorgeous landscapes and popular tourist attractions. With such advantages, the district has built a lineup of tourism sites and diversified products to lure more holiday makers. A day earlier, the Tsang Temple Festival, one of the biggest annual spring festivals in Vietnam, opened at the National Historical Complex of the Tsang King's Shrines and Tombs in northern Thái Bình province. On the first day of the 4-day festival, an incense offering rite at the king's tombs and a ritual for the opening of the gates of Đền Thánh, Sang Temple, Đền Mẫu, Mother Temple, and the Tsang King's Shrines took place. They were followed by a water procession, in which about 1,000 people carried 9 ornate palanquins with memorial plaques of the kings of the Tsang dynasty and members of their royal families. A series of folk games will also be organized during the festival, including a rice cooking challenge, clay firecrackers, chưng cake making, and tug of war. The Tsang Temple Festival was recognized as part of the National Intangible Heritage in 2014. The historic complex of the Chen King Shrines and Tombs received special national relic status last year. If you haven't had a chance to travel to many places across the country to experience various cultures, now it's time to take a glance at cultural identities of southern and northwestern regions through mock floating market and kermits, which have been vividly reenacted in the capital city of Hanoi. Spanning an area of over 54,000 kilometers, the interlacing network of rivers and tributaries of the Mekong Delta, literally known as the Land of Nine Dragons, created this type of floating market. The floating market was created due to the increasing demand for a chain of goods. Now, while the market is generally known as the cultural characteristic of the southwestern region, visitors from both at home and abroad have come to see it. Tourists joining the reenacted floating market can rent a boat and experience trading on the river.
The floating market generally starts in early mornings. Goods are usually local specialties, mainly fruits. They are typically hung on a pole in front of each boat, so buyers can buy them easily from a distance.
Selling goods at the market doesn't turn big profits, but it can help local people earn temporary livings.
I go to the market every day when I feel well. I can earn some 150,000 dong a day on average. It can help my family with their daily expenditures. Besides, we grow rice as our main source of income.
Also, tourists can attend amateur singing performances. Amateur singing, featuring the southwestern region's characteristics, originated from Hui royal court music. Visitors can also try typical regional dishes, such as rice pancake folded in half and soft rice noodle at reasonable prices. Leaving the floating market for kermits, a unique market for the northwestern region, visitors will have an entirely different adventure. Kermits doesn't only create a venue for ethnic minority groups in mountainous areas to exchange goods, it also creates an avenue for cultural exchanges. Besides contemplating traditionally colorful costumes of various ethnic groups, market goers can buy local specialties such as dried honey, fungi, or brocade products whipped by highland women. Coming to the mock kermits, visitors can enjoy a dish originated from the mountainous region called Thang Go, and sip several cups of alcohol made from maize.
The dish is made from horse meat and its organs such as intestines, livers and kidneys, along with materials such as cinnamon twig and star anise that make it fragrant. Making this dish is time-consuming but worth it because it is a specialty.
Cultural identities of various regions are invigorated through each market. Their harmony demonstrates the solidarity among fraternal ethnic groups, hence embellishing the nation's culture. And that has wrapped up our news bulletin. Thanks for joining us, and goodbye for now.